Hello, my name's Alyssa Martin, and I'm with the City of Lincoln Mayor's Office. I'm here to support the work of the Mayor's Economic Recovery Task Force, which was convened this summer to devise strategies by which we can participate in Lincoln's economic recovery in the face of COVID-19. One of the strategies that the task force recommended was to encourage residents, employers, and the city and county to target spending toward local businesses, small businesses, and women and minority-owned businesses, as there's a lot of data to show how investing strategically in those businesses can really support our local economy and retain more dollars locally. And so with that in mind, I'm very pleased to be joined today by Bob Walla, who's the director of the City County Purchasing Department. And today's topic is procurement workshop, kind of how to become a registered vendor with the city and do business with the city county. Over to you, Bob.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. We have a presentation that I think will be very beneficial to those who are not familiar with our procurement process. And we have a lot of resources that are currently on our site that will allow you to quickly become familiar with the procurement process for the city and the county. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get into our presentation right away in our PowerPoint. First of all, I want to start out by saying who we are, and that is we are the City of Lincoln, Lancaster County Purchasing Department. We represent the City of Lincoln, Lancaster County, the Public Building Commission, and the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency, which includes the arena. We manage all of the purchases of goods and services, and it's a very large variety of goods and services that are purchased by these government entities. And just for your information, we purchase approximately between $150 and $200 million worth of products and services per year. That's what goes through our office, and that business is there for our local vendors to participate in, and we want to get more of you on board as soon as possible in order to receive some of that money that we have out there. So the purchases that we make are regulated by the city charter, the city code, the County Purchasing Act. The city code and charter are specific to city bids. The County Purchasing Act is also used as part of the Public Building Commission and the JPA. We do a number of bids that have both the city, the county involved, and both of these, the regulations from each of the entities comes into play. So generally, we do competitive bidding or an RFP process. RFP stands for Request for Proposals. And when it comes to the bid process, our standard is we select the lowest responsive bidder. I want to just real quick go through that part of it because there is some confusion there as to what that means. Of course, lowest is easy and that it's the low price, but sometimes that involves life cycle, which can make a difference in what the initial cost is versus what the overall total life cost is. Responsible means that we follow a definition that's been established by the city council and is listed in the city code. Basically, some of the features of that are we consider the previous performance. Is the company able to meet the project deadlines? Will they meet spec? And what is the experience that they have that makes them qualified in order to do this kind of work? And finally, responsive, and this is where we have requirements that are part of every single bid and RFP, where we need you to submit things to us in order for us to make our decision. So we ask you to follow the requirements for what must be submitted, or there's a risk of rejection. And so being responsive means that you supply us with everything we're asking for at the time of the bid closing or prior to making an award, and that is clarified in the bid process. Our city-county EBid system is an electronic system that we've been using since 2007. It has proved extremely effective in our bidding processes, our evaluations, our contract management, and we are very proud of our system in that it's extremely transparent and it allows a lot of information to be provided to the public that isn't normally provided through other procurement departments. And so with that, I'm going to start doing a demonstration of the EBid system and how some of the functions work. The first thing you do when you log into the EBid system is go to the City of Lincoln homepage, which is lincoln.ne.gov. And to go into the bid part, you go to the search by keyword and type in the word bid, B-I-D. Hit enter. And this takes you to our EBid homepage. This is a part of the EBid system that is public at all times. The username and the password information is here, but you do not need to be logged in any way to see the majority of the information that is out there. So what I want to start out with is to have you look at the active contracts that we have available. This screen is the first of 20 pages. There are 782 contracts that are currently on the site. Ranges everything from A to Z. And what this site does is it allows you to go in and look at the services and the products that are being purchased by the city and county. And it allows you to go in and look at the details associated with what we bid out the last time that the product was needed, but also the terms and the conditions that are tied to it. So what I want to do is, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a couple of these contracts, and I'm going to show you some of the areas that will help you in determining whether or not you should bid or if you want to bid. And really, this is my tip for the day, to go to this site and to look at the product or service that you are going to provide, and then looking at the details on it and determining if it is something that you can bid or it's something that doesn't fit totally into the area of expertise that you have. So we have 5 different areas up here to search. Most of the time we will put in one that's fairly simple. I'm going to do one today since we seem to be getting close to wintertime, and put in the word snow. When we put that in, as you can see, we have a large number of contracts that are associated with snow removal. 2 pages of them. Everything from ag tractor services to front end loaders, hauling of snow. When we have large snows here in downtown, we actually use dump trucks to haul those away with, and those are done by contractors. Motor grader services, and then if we switch over to page 2, we also have them for specific locations, such as the Municipal Service Center and our parking garages. We also have one that's called sidewalk services, where we need sidewalks to be cleaned in certain areas of town where the city manages the properties. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one in particular. When you click on the bid, you'll see that we have the title of it, the contract number. On the right side here, under active contract term, it shows us what the description of the start date and the end date is. This one is just about ready to expire. We go down to the supplier information. This tells you who the contractor is that we currently have. Gives a little bit of information about the company, and it also gives the information about the where our departments can get a hold of the company. We use this site for 2 different purposes. One is to keep the public informed of exactly what it is, what contracts we have out there, and for you as a bidder to look at this. But 2, our departments use this in order to go and find the information that they need in order to contact these companies to come and do the services that they have. The other part of it is it includes our, sorry, we're getting a screen that's blinking here. We have departments that use this to determine what the pricing should be as they're going through their invoices each time they receive them as well. We get down here to available renewal options. This tells you how many more renewals are available on this contract. In this one in particular, there's one more renewal. So we will, unless the department gives us some advice not to, we will renew for an additional year through November 7th of 2021. I can tell you that next year, when this is expired and there are no renewals, about September, we will issue this bid for this specific service. And we will start a whole new term with a 1 year with an option for 3 renewals, which is normally what we do on these types of contracts. When we get down here into the section that's called attachment list, these are all of the documents that were associated with this bid when it was issued and the subsequent contract that was issued. In particular, I want to point out the specifications, which is right here. They're titled specifications. This would be the first place to look. If you are a snow removal person, you'd want to look at the specifications first and say, okay, what is being done here that I could do or that I'm not able to do? And with it, you can see under section 3, we talk about the level of service, excuse me, the equipment that may be needed to get this type of work done, the different locations, and how many actual linear and square feet of concrete we are having the snow removal done for. And then also some additional information in regards to the contractor responsibilities, and then also the city responsibilities associated with each contract. And then usually we end up these specifications on how we evaluate it. And once again, you can see that lowest responsive bidder is the primary way that that's done. So looking at this first, it'll tell you exactly what it is that we're looking for. And it allows you to determine if that's something you may be interested in when this is bid next year. The next part of this is the actual contract. And the contract not only includes contract language, but it also includes the response from this contractor on this bid. If you begin in the contract here, you see what the actual dollar amount is for the current contract, and that is $100,000, which was the estimated amount. Going down, you see the additional legal documents. And then we get to this section here, which is the supplier response. And this is this is the document that is submitted during the bid process and provides all of the information in regards to the contractor themselves, but also includes the approval of our requirements, such as insurance, the specifications, the term of the contract, and the agreement of how they're going to charge us. And then it also includes some information about the kind of ice melt person is going to use. And if we scroll down here to the next section, here is the actual pricing that's being submitted for each one of these projects. So this is broke out into packages. Package 1 is called Route 1, and in the specifications it listed 9 locations that consists of 5,966 linear feet of sidewalk to be have the snow removed. And if you go down here to this section down here, it shows you that to remove the snow in this section for an accumulation under 4 inches, the company is charging us $900. If it is between 4 and 8, it's $1,300. And if it's greater than 8 inches, it's $1,600. There's also a line item for ice melt application. And then also, this is more of some of the handwork that would need to be done, the cleanup of the sidewalks after the city has plowed windrows. And then from there, we go down to the next section and each price that goes on after that. So if you are a bidder and you're considering this next year, this will be available to you prior to you submitting the bid. It's available now. It'll be available right up until the new contract is posted into contract management. The next thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to the EBid is actually supplier registration. We have almost, I believe, about 8,000 vendors registered right now with the city and county in the EBid system, and I can tell you that that's never enough. We always want more vendors. We always want that competition to be there for every different type of commodity and service. And so in order for you to submit a bid, you must be registered as a supplier. If you go to the lincoln.ne.gov and click on, enter bid in the keyword, you'll come to this page and then click on supplier registration. You'll enter your company name in here. Hit next. The next screen that comes up is your agreement to the terms and conditions for submitting a bid and also for the use of the Ionwave EBid system. We definitely recommend that you read this information prior to submitting your application. And then from there, it's just entry of your information regarding your company. Company name, the organization type. Are you a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a corporation? If you need assistance with this, we are more than willing to help you with that. Most people know how they fit into it. If you are just getting started on your own, of course you are a sole proprietor. But we work with all these different types of organizations, and we do have different documents associated with each one. But we do have companies in each one of these categories. The user information is just your login and password in order for you to log in each time a bid opens for you. So this information is filled in, and from this point forward, it's all the information that we need in order to notify you for a bid, to have your information in the contract management site and on the bid site when you submit a bid to us. And it just gives you access to the inside of the EBid system rather than just the public side. You will go through each one of these screens and then submit. We will approve you as a vendor, and once we do that, you are able to log in and to view any of the bids that are available at that time and to submit a bid for it. There are a couple of areas in this registration that I do want to point out, and they will be part of the PowerPoint that you'll be able to see here as we post it. One of those is the commodities and the services that you sign up for. And what's important here is that you sign up for as many goods and services that you believe you can provide and that you want to receive notices on. If you do snow removal, you pretty much only have to check the box under snow removal. But if you're a construction company and you do snow removal and construction and concrete work, you want to make sure you click that box on each one of those subjects so that you receive a notice for each one of those types of bids that come out throughout the year. The other part of it is that we really want to stress is that you have more than one user on your account. And what I mean by that is I have Bob's company, and Bob is the one that's going to be the primary person submitting a bid, but Bob does go on vacation every once in a while, and there are bids that continue to come out even when Bob is on vacation. So if you have Alyssa signed up under your account, Alyssa will receive the email and the information the same time Bob does, and no one's going to miss it because they don't go on vacation at the same time. And finally, there's a section in here at the very end that talks about classifications. And we would like you to pay close attention to that and to complete the boxes as it asks for. One of them is Lincoln Lancaster County businesses. Another one is Nebraska-owned businesses, women-owned, minority-owned, disabled. Each one of those If you qualify for them based on the qualifications that are listed in that area, you should be clicking those so that we can keep track of it. We do not have a preference for these types of classifications at this time, but we do keep track of it, and we are able to monitor the amount of work that's going to each one of those classifications each year. So please take the time to check those boxes and to submit that with your registration. The next part of the bidding process is actually submitting a bid. And I'm going to go into this just a little bit and show you how that is done. It is very simple. Everything is done here online in the Ionwave system. Sorry, hit the wrong button there. So in the Ionwave system, you will see that the notifications come from Ionwave. A very important part of this is that you remove the spam filters in order for you to receive these notices. Hold on one second as I go back into the Ionwave system. So we're going to say that Bob's company does snow removal, and Ionwave will send out an email for 6318. It went out on the 26th of October. The moment that we push the button to issue this, the email is sent directly to each of you as vendors. You'll get the notice that says click on this link in order to access this bid. Once you click on that link, you will log in and you will be able to see all of the information associated with the bid in the bid attachments. It'll show you the instructions, the insurance requirements. Of course, it'll show you the specifications and a map of the snow removal on this one so that you know exactly what it is that you're bidding on. The format that you receive this in will be just like this. This is not the actual thing that you'll fill out, but this is the format that you'll receive. It'll show you the event information. It'll show the issue date, the closing date, which is 11 a.m. on the 30th. This work is being done at the LTU water treatment plant in Ashland. We have all of our documents here in the bid attachments. This attribute section allows you to go through and verify that you have read all of the information that is part of the bid. And instructions to bidders, insurance, all of this gives you a clear understanding of what our expectations are in receiving a bid from you. And then we get down to the bid lines. And so we are asking in this one for an hourly rate per person to use a snowblower. So we're asking for that hourly rate and the unit price. It will automatically figure it times the quantity and give you a total over here. Same thing for each one of these line items, the different types of things. You have shoveling with a person. You have applying ice melt. In this case, the city is actually supplying the ice melt. And the last one here is hauling the snow off of the property to the Ashland dump if necessary. So we ask that you complete a price on each one of these areas. If there's one area that you can't, you can still submit a bid and we will still consider it, but we also take a look at it to make sure that we are effectively and efficiently procuring these services and that we don't have multiple people that we have to contact for each snow event. One of the key tips when it comes to submitting bids is do not wait until the last minute to submit your bid. Late submissions are not accepted. And at 12:01 or at 11:01, 11 o'clock and 1 second, your bid will be rejected. And it's nothing that we're doing, it is what the system does. And it is similar to the way we used to receive paper bids, in that if you got stuck at the stop sign a block away from our office and showed up 30 seconds late because the light didn't turn green soon enough, your bid was rejected. In this case, it's rejected the second after the time period ends. So once our bids are complete and we received them all, we evaluate them in our system, and then we make an award. And we have a section here that's called closed bids. And I'll take one of these here. That's a test one. Annual supply of tire chains. Once the bid closes, usually within 30 seconds after it closes, all of the information from every vendor is in our EBid system. All you have to do is go into the bid itself and click on Bid Tabulation by Supplier Spreadsheet. This opens up an Excel spreadsheet that shows each one of the bids submitted for each one of the line items. In this case, there were 6 line items. The total price for Michael Todd was $77, O'Reilly was $99. If you go down here at the bottom, you can actually look at the breakout by line. So we had different types of chains, cross links, tensioners. So each one of these had a price associated with it. The interesting thing on these bids, these companies list no bid on these center ones, and their main bids are at the very top and at the bottom. So we take a look at that and we compare it to other bids that might have come in that did not put no bid in that area. So we get a lot of information here that we have to evaluate. It does take us a little bit of time to do that, but this is the area that you can go for every one of our bids as soon as it closes to determine where you finished if you submit a bid. Once we have reviewed the bid information and determined who our lowest responsible bidder is, we send out a notice to all of the bidders, awarded and non-awarded. And in this case, this one here, we awarded to A.J. Donner Construction, as you can see, awarded suppliers at this total cost for 7 line items. And then there's also additional details associated with this in this spreadsheet that you can look at. And you also still have access to your bid tabulation and the bid invitation so that you can see where you finished. You can look at the line items and how you compare to the winning company in each one of those areas. One of the important things in regards to bid awards is to make sure that you have all of your documentation ready as soon as the bid is awarded. In particular, your insurance. We ask that you submit the information that the county and the city ask for in advance so that we aren't waiting around for your insurance agent to determine if and how to get the insurance that we asked for. We want you to have that ready for us and be able to submit it to us as soon as we send you a contract or issue a purchase order. A delay in getting those documents for too long of a period can result in us awarding to another company, and that would go back to the responsiveness part of the bid. The other part of it is that if we're doing construction or some types of other work, we may require a performance bond. Once again, make sure that you are eligible for a performance bond of the entire amount when you're looking at a construction bid. And going to your bonding company in advance and saying, I'm going to bid $150,000 for this project. What is my bid bond, or what is my performance bond going to cost? And am I able to get it if I get awarded this bid? The reason you need to know what it's going to cost is because that cost should be tied into your total bid cost so that you aren't eating that amount and losing out on your profits. So that's a quick overview of our EBid system. And I know that I went through things fairly quickly here. We only had around 30 minutes, but we do want to offer some additional opportunities for you to be able to learn more about the bid process, to learn more about how your products and services may be utilized with the city of Lincoln and Lancaster County. One of the ways that we're going to do that is what we call one-on-one vendor assistance. And on the second and fourth Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m., we as in myself and my purchasing staff, will schedule appointments with individuals to go through your specific questions and to assist you in any way that you need in order to do business with us. And so we're excited to get started on that. We're looking at probably 15-minute appointments each time. And if we get an overwhelming response for it, we'll open it up for a longer period of time or have it more frequent here at the beginning. Another great resource here in Lincoln and the surrounding areas is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which is PTAC. And the contact person for that is Quentin Farley, and I have his email on here. Quentin has a lot of information, not only for the city and county, but also works with the university, other colleges, other government entities, and all the way up to the feds on getting businesses involved with bidding for these different entities. One real quick note, we have various thresholds that the city and county have in place. One of those thresholds is called a departmental purchase, which is under $10,000. And mainly these are smaller purchases, one-time purchases by a department. Say they need to purchase a floor jack or something that we do not already have on contract. They're able to go out and buy one of these directly from a vendor here in town or online. Most of these purchases are made using a P card, a government purchase card, or a Visa. And it is an area that a lot of smaller businesses can get involved with. And we will be working on some plans and strategies in the near future on how to get more people directed to certain companies that may want to participate in the departmental purchases. And finally, there's just a little blip here about unconventional purchases, and that kind of refers to what we have as sole source, piggyback, professional services, architect and engineer services. Those are specific things that are done differently than our regular bid process. And we are more than willing to discuss with you if you would fit into one of those categories as to how you would qualify for that and how we could assist you in participating in those procurements, which are not the standard lowest responsive bidder. The last slide I have here is just the department contact information that we have. We are located at 440 South 8th Street, which is just across the street from the city-county building. And our general purchasing email is purchasing@lincoln.ne.gov. Our bid hotline is 441-8103 if you need our assistance there. And with that concludes my presentation, and I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa for some questions.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. We're just going to do a little bit of Q&A right now to before we wrap things up, and really appreciate. I thought that was very informative. And just FYI, our purchasing department is very accessible, so please do take advantage of some of those opportunities to reach out to the folks with purchasing. So just a couple questions to follow up on the presentation. In your view, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see when a supplier submits?
The primary thing that I see is that they really just don't read things closely. Mm-hmm. And they submit for a product or a service that really doesn't meet the spec. That is one. They don't read all of the documents that are attached. They kind of skip over the instructions to bidders or the insurance requirements, which can be make it very difficult for us to make an evaluation if something gets sent to us that doesn't meet those terms as well. And then also, they don't pay attention to the close date and time. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this for 15 years here in Lincoln, and I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, probably once every couple of months, we'll get that, hey, I submitted my bid at 12:01, and I was like, sorry, there's nothing we can do at this point. So pay really close attention to those close dates. And then finally, and one that probably happens the most, is people try to submit a bid through email or a fax or even through the mail when all of our bids and our RFPs are submitted through the EBid system.
Got it. Understood. What kind of a follow-up on sort of registering as a vendor? What are let's say I'm a small business and I'm not entirely sure, what categories of services or products that I might fit into or qualify for. Would you still recommend that I go ahead and register as a vendor and check all the different boxes to get those notifications? And are there any other things you can recommend? So for those that may not have much of the resources to kind of maybe take some shortcuts in order to determine whether they really should submit a bid or if maybe they should hold off?
I think the thing that will help those individuals out the most is to go onto our contract management site and search for the things that they really want to focus on, or even those things that are out there a little bit away from what they do. And then those would be the commodities that they would sign up for so that they would get those notices. They may not want all of the emails. We have some vendors who sign up for everything. And, if they want to get, 100 some emails a month, that's great. But on the other hand, if you want to just receive those that are specific to what you do, look to see what we have there. And it doesn't hurt anything to register and to receive those notices, because there may be something come up that we've never bid before. And you'd be registered, you'd be ready to go when it hits your email.
Kind of a bit of a tricky question potentially, but are there certain areas or where you feel like, or where you ask yourself, why don't we have more local vendors competing for these contracts, or opportunities for additional to get a little bit more local vendor competition?
Yeah, I've been doing this long enough, and one of the things that I've heard many times over is I don't have time for all of the paperwork. I don't have time to dig through all of the legal things that go along with doing business with the government. One other thing is I don't have time to wait to get paid. And so there's a couple answers that I have for that. The first is, we are using taxpayer money, and it's our obligation to follow all of the legal requirements that our law department sets for us in order to keep that money safe. And so we do have legal requirements out there. But one thing a vendor will see is that once they look at it once, it doesn't change the next time they look at it again. We revise our documents probably once every few years, but for the most part, once you know what our insurance requirements are and send it to your insurance agent, they know what it is and they're going to have it ready for you. Once you know that the instructions to bidders say that you have to submit your work history, it's the same every time. And then when it comes to the payment part of it, our accounting staff, we put down that we will pay within 30 days of receipt of invoice. Our accounting staff does an excellent job trying to get those checks out as soon as possible. But now with the introduction of the P card, which is a government Visa card, we can make payment the same day that we receive your invoice. And so that is really a big plus. We know that there are fees associated with that, but at the same time, when you need your money and how it works to pay your suppliers, and that option is there for immediate payment.
Thank you. And as Bob mentioned, more to come on the departmental purchases front, and because we'd like to generate additional awareness of how the city county government can be able to utilize local suppliers for some of those smaller purchases. Another question that I have is, how is a company to provide a bid for a product or a service as a subcontractor?
So there are many contracts that we do, mainly construction, that involve subcontractors, but there are a few others that have that. I'm going to going to switch back over to our EBid site and show one in order for you to see exactly how someone would submit. And basically, we have things written into the specs and into the EBid system that provide information for subcontractors to see, number one, what the work would be for a subcontractor, but also how to get a hold of the general contractors when that work is done. So here's one that's a Public Works Engineering Services project. If you open this up, you'll see right in the middle of the page, it says bid event participation activity, and it says intent to bid subcontractor listing. So if I'm a subcontractor, I'm able to call or go into the system here, add my name as a subcontractor. At the same time, I can look at the list of the general contractors who have done the same. And then in addition to that, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, we have what's called the plan holders list. And if you're familiar with Lincoln and the surrounding area of different construction companies who normally serve as general contractors, such as Bauer and Brandt and Cathler, some of those bigger ones, we have their phone number, their contact name, and their telephone number there. So there are a number of different ways for subcontractors to get information.
Great, thank you for that. What about, another question I have is, what if you have, maybe a new product or service that could potentially be of use to the city or county and maybe doesn't fall within some of the conventional categories for products and services?
Yeah, we get quite a few requests from companies who say, I got something new that's never been on the market. And had one last week, an individual who has a product for roofing. It's kind of a new thing. And he said, I can't register with you because I don't fit into the category of roofing. This is kind of a replacement type thing. It's like, okay, send me the information that you have on that product, and then I can forward it on to the departments who handle roofing projects. And in particular, the Public Building Commission, county engineer, a few others where people are managing actual buildings that use shingled roofs. Mm-hmm. So sending that information to the purchasing department, me in particular, I will take a look at it. I will distribute it out to the individuals that need to see it. And there are occasionally times when I'll actually tell that salesperson, contact Karen Peterson with the Building Commission or somebody like that directly, because they could probably use something like that right then and there. The other part of it is, though, is when they send that to me, I could say, well, actually, we have used that product and we have bid out for that product. Here's where the contract is for it, and here's a good opportunity for you to register and be part of that bid next time.
Got it. Well, and yeah, like you said, sometimes it's helpful to be able to have the right connection, the person to be able to follow up with. Are there any additional documents or resources that you would direct people to get kind of more information on the procurement process and how to do business with the city/county?
On our website, on our purchasing website, we actually have a document that's called How to Do Business with the City County. And if you click on that, there's a synopsis of various types of thresholds, and I kind of go through everything that I did here in this presentation in that document. So something that you can copy and take a look at and take home and use for your reference each time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. And just as a quick reminder, if you have general questions for the purchasing department, you can contact them by either going to the address that was listed in the contact info or emailing purchasing@lincoln.ne.gov. Or if you'd like to sign up for a one-on-one vendor consultation, as Bob Walla alluded to, you can email Bob at rwalla@lincoln.ne.gov to sign up for a time slot. And we will be posting this information and the materials related to it on our website, and welcome any questions or feedback that you may have. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. We look forward to hearing from you all.